Good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful evening. It's very cold out here. Very cold. This beanie I got since 2004. Yes, 2004. You mean that? 2004, I still have it. Unbelievable. I'm very loyal with my things. It's very cold, extremely cold today. Because I love you guys, I had to share this with you. I'm doing it right now. So, you know what to do, you know the drill. Please join us if it's not done yet. You want to be part of this community, we'll appreciate to have you. It's going to be very easy if you put the notification on so you don't miss anything. Thank you very much for being part of it. We want people, doesn't matter where you're from. So let's go. Iran. You know Iran, right? The country Iran that's been isolated for many years. Okay, we're going to talk about Iran today. Iran and Uganda have come together into understanding that the Western countries are trying to push their agenda to everybody else, meaning the agenda of men marrying other. There you go. That's in Africa. In Africa. Sometimes you don't have to finish the sentence. You say men marry other, you completed. So you got it. There you go. So before we talk about that, we're going to talk about other things. The reason why Iran has come to Africa, even though it has been isolated for many years. So they said Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has wrapped up a short official visit to Kenya, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. The three African countries signed deals with critical strategic partner, while Iran boosted diplomatic and economic ties with what Raisi called continent of opportunity. Absolutely great. So the Iranian president has come to Africa in a tour to sort of, just loosen up a little bit, because it's been deemed as a country of doom. Nobody like them. Nobody want to be with them. But he just want to show to the world, you know what? It's actually not what you think. We have very good relationship with countries that are free. Countries that are not necessarily working with the West. Raisi, who's the president of Iran, says Africa is a continent of opportunity, as well as a lucrative market for Iranian products. Basically, it means there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of business to do with Africa. Iran described the tour as a turning point to promote economic diplomacy and strengthen political relations. Iran wants to prove, as opposed to what's being said, that it is not isolated. It is very interesting since the war in Ukraine that many things are turning. Have you noticed that? Zimbabwe now, after being sanctioned, they decided to go to Russia. They received a few helicopters from Russia. They're cooperating. And the president said, is it crazy to see that sanctioned people finally come together to work on something? That's what's happening with Iran now. Iran has reestablished its relationship with Saudi Arabia in March, normalized tense relations with Egypt and Morocco. We know that Iran and Saudi Arabia have been sworn enemies for many years. In fact, they wanted them to be separated. The fear of Saudi Arabia of Iran enabled the United States to go and sit there. Basically, the US said to Saudi Arabia, we can give you protection against Iran, provided you give us the exclusivity of your oil. So in other words, if you want the US to protect you, so whichever country that comes to Saudi Arabia looking for oil, they must exchange their money from their local money to dollars, then come and buy the oil. Don't take anything beside the dollar. And that is one of the reasons why the dollar was very strong for many years. Now, China has messed up the party because China has brought Iran and Saudi Arabia together around the same table to discuss. So basically, this means Saudi Arabia does not necessarily need the United States anymore because they have no more beef with Iran. So the Iranian president went to Uganda, had a discussion with the Ugandan president. The Ugandan president recently had been very strong with his position. He doesn't want to be told anything, okay? And I understand that. It's a free country. You cannot come into our country and tell us how to live. They have promised to give Uganda oil expertise. They say in Uganda, Raisi said that Iran would offer its expertise in both exploration and refining. We all know that Uganda very recently discovered a lot of oil, borders of the Congo and Uganda. And they came up asking for Western companies to come and help them exploit the oil, to pull the oil from Western Uganda to the sea, because Uganda does not have a port to the sea. And Western companies initially said yes. Then they started changing their minds because they're not interested to see Uganda move forward. They don't want to see Uganda progress. That's not a good idea. And also because Uganda stood very strong when it came to the story that we're not going to say the name. Uganda does not want men to marry other. Yeah, you got it. So since that story, many things have happened. They've canceled visas of some Uganda officials. They have stopped sending the money that they used to send to Uganda to AIDS people living with HIV. Now, my question is, were they really trying to help the people with the HIV, or it was just a way to control people? We're going to give you the money if you obey us. If you don't obey us, we're not sending the money. Because either way, how is the president of Uganda suffering from you not sending the money? It's the people living with the HIV that are suffering from this. So now, the Western companies refuse to work with Uganda. Iran has come and said, you know what, we're going to work with you and help you with expertise with your oil so you can develop your oil industry and become rich with no problem. They say this partnership with Iran will boost Uganda oil and gas industry. Recognizing the significance of establishing an oil refinery, we're eager to lend our knowledge and experience to Uganda to help Uganda tap into its oil resources, he told President Yoweri Museveni. So according to Oil Refinery, the project of Uganda is stalled. Exactly, since that story that man wanting to marry other, since that story, the project is stalled. So basically, it's like, if you say yes to what we say, you're fine. If you say no to what we say, then we're going to very slowly start stopping your things. Make sure that nothing works. We're going to speak to all of our partners so they can stop working with you, basically. So with Uganda, many things have just, it's like just going one by one by one. There have been delay to this project, like a huge delay. Raisi and Museveni both criticized Western support for Omo. Yeah, a position described as another area of cooperation for Iran and Uganda. So basically, Iranians and Ugandans in general do not accept men wanting other. There you get it. So the president of Iran has said that the Western countries are trying to impose their mentality into other countries, other free nations. It is unacceptable. Then he went to Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, the president says, I'm happy to come and show solidarity. When we went to war against Great Britain, Iran was our friend. So it's interesting to see that Iran has helped many people before. And we never hear about these things. So Iran was friend to Zimbabwe when Zimbabwe resisted Great Britain. Interesting. Both countries are isolated from the Western powers under the sanction of the United States. Zimbabwe is still under the sanction of the United States, even though President Mugabe, who initially was the reason for the sanction, is long departed. Why aren't the sanctions lifted against Zimbabwe? Then he went to Kenya. And in Kenya, they say 5 memoranda of understanding were signed by Iran and Kenya on information technology, fishery, animals, health, livestock, production, and investment promotion. So basically, Iran is looking for business. They're not here to tell you what to do. They're not here to force you to adopt a mentality. Kenya President William Ruto called Iran a critical partner and global innovation powerhouse. A critical strategic partner and global innovation powerhouse. Tea accounts for the bulk of Kenya's export to Iran, but Ruto expressed interest in expanding the range of agricultural export. Iran intends to set a manufacturing plant for Iranian vehicle in Kenya, port of Mombasa. So basically, fellas, it's a new game. Everybody want to play a big role in world society, world political stage. Iran is not going to leave itself behind. I'm sure they were probably prompted by Russia or China. They probably gave them the power that they needed. Say, you know what? Stop being in a corner like you're isolated. You need to go out there and make your own friendship, create your own partnerships. It's very good to see that actually African countries are open. Who is that kind of person that would tell people, or, people in a class, you don't talk to him. If you talk to him, you have an issue. You don't talk to him. Nobody talk to whoever talks to him is going to have an issue. What do you call that people? There's a name for those people, right? Do you know the name? Please write the name of people who tell people, if you dare talk to him, you're going to see. So where are we? Are we in 2023? Is it slavery or what? I mean, like, people, are they free to do whatever they want? These are adults, man. I mean, are they free to do what they want to do? Speak to who they want to speak to? I mean, you can see the defiance. The defiance is evident. The president of Uganda defied everybody, defied the West by going to Russia because you were trying to meddle into his business. He is defying against everybody else by accepting Iran in his doors. Telling you that, you know what, you can keep your visas, you can keep your knowledge about oil, you can keep whatever you like. I'm going to find alternative ways. And this is what happens very often when the president is a soldier. He's got enough experience. He's not scared of anything. And Zimbabwe, very slowly, you can see them resisting because it's tiring to see a country being sanctioned for free. Okay? Mugabe is not there anymore. You said Mugabe was evil. He's not there anymore. Why are the people of Zimbabwe suffering up until now? Why are there still sanctions? For what? It's a big question. I think after all, people are opening their eyes. People are not kids anymore. They don't want to be ruled in a place where they have nothing to say. It makes no sense. Even in a family with a very strong father, he needs to be right every time he talks about reprimand. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure to read from you. Is this a good thing for Africa? Are Africa free to do what they want to do with who they want to do? Is this the opening door to a doomed era of our humanity? God bless.